Oh damn, you got the monster on. Is that the deep sea? The challenge?
Challenge, yeah.
Yeah, the deep sea challenge.
The Challenger Deep, which is only a small part of the Mariana Trench, is something like 50 times the size of the Grand Canyon.
You've done so many fun sci-fi movies, but they're fictional.
Yeah, but this is sci-fi for real.
Yeah.
Let's get a wrist profile on that monkey.
Largest Rolex they ever made.
No, I tried these on and it's ridiculous. It's a hunk.
Oh, I see the second hand going. Yeah, baby. We are good. Have us a working watch.
So not only can this watch plummet further down than any Star Wars TV show recent review, but at 50 millimeters wide and 23 millimeters thick, this thing should be applying for Miss Alabama. I really wrote that down, huh? That one's what I'm swinging with today? Wow. It's the Rolex DeepSea challenge that we're talking about today. While we were in Dallas and checking out the Gas Monkey garage, getting a tour of their car collection and projects they're working on right now, Richard was actually wearing the Rolex DeepSea challenge while he came out to meet us. It inspired me to dive a little bit deeper, no pun intended there, dive a little bit deeper into the Rolex DeepSea challenge, the interesting facts about it, some things that are cool about it that might make Richard actually interested in purchasing the watch to begin with, other than the fact that it's just a very cool collectible Rolex that is increased in value and also a really great collector's item for someone who's serious about collecting Rolexes. We're gonna dive deep and see what we can find. Fuck, dude. That's almost worse than the one that I started with, because that's actually cringe.
And there's the man himself, that's Richard.
Right, the collection here.
They're all for sale.
Yeah, he's a big watch guy.
Are you a big watch guy or a big watch collector? Because that's just a big fucking watch.
Both, but I've got a pretty good plethora of watches.
Nice.
Pretty good selection.
Why did they make the DeepSea challenge? What was its purpose? It's a dive watch. It is made for extreme diving to endure the depths of the deepest known part of our ocean. Very unique, inspiring challenge for some of these big brands to endure. Kind of like the moon landing, the Speedmaster or whatever, first watch on the moon. And it's this competitiveness between the brands, between the watchmakers. What can you make that can withstand these forces of nature and push the boundaries of what humans are able to do for exploring science? All of that good stuff.
I had to, at a certain point, say, what am I doing out here? Why am I doing this? What do I get out of it? We don't make money at these damn shows. You know, we barely break even. There's no fame in it. People sort of think I went away between Titanic and Avatar and was buffing my nails someplace, you know, sitting at the beach. Made all these films, made all these documentary films that, you know, for a very limited audience. So no fame, no glory, no money. What are you doing? You're doing it for the task itself, for the challenge, and the ocean is the most challenging environment there is.
It's the big motherfucker in the dive watch area of Rolex.
The other dude, the freaking giant Chris. Yeah, I looked over and I'm like, holy shit. He's like, how's it going, mate? I'm like, freaking watch is massive, but on him it looks normal. So,
Yeah. He's the only person who makes a 50 mil look like it's normal.
yeah.
That's what I was saying.
He caught that because that's what like his
Yeah,
industry
no,
is.
the Rolex DeepSeas, they're fucking massive watches.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that looks regular on his wrist.
Yeah. Richard's wearing the same one and it's like a it looks like a giant stopwatch. Okay.
That's the watch that looks regular on his wrist. Yeah.
This Submariner is like this is just regular dive watch. Some of these go up to like 41 and stuff. This one's a 40. They're pushing the boundaries of what humankind is capable of. 40 millimeter Rolex pushes the boundaries of what I'm able to wear and still look like a man. Any bigger and it would look just ridiculous. This one was significant to the Rolex brand because they've done a number of deep sea diving expeditions with professionals in the field and equipped them with the right timepieces to be able to get the jobs done. They've been doing the Submariners for a while. They've been doing the deep sea. They've had a history of deep sea diving and aquatic adventures. This watch is the pinnacle of Rolex deep sea diving and celebrates it accordingly. So it's a homage to the 1960 expedition with the deep sea special, where these two guys, I'm not going to attempt to butcher their names, and this vessel descended to the bottom of the Mariana Trench in 1960 and reached a depth of 10,916 meters or 35,814 feet. It's a lot, and it's the deepest point that we know in the world right now, which is nuts. Their diving record in the Mariana Trench wasn't beat for another 50 years.
My expedition was inspired by the great Jacques Piccard and Don Walsh, who in 1960 were the first to reach the deepest point of our oceans, the Challenger Deep, at the bottom of the Mariana Trench.
After the dive, Jacques wrote, I swear I did not try to butcher that. If I'm butchering that, I'm sorry. So he wrote to Rolex after, "I'm happy to announce that your watch works well at 11,000 meters as it does on the surface," which is a pretty cool testament to what they're able to do. He gave it this stamp of approval from one of the only guys who had made it down to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. So that was huge. The Rolex DeepSea Special, which was Rolex's first dive watch that descended all the way to the depths of the Mariana Trench, that one did not get a public release. That was a one-off for that specific mission to be able to dive to that depths with the team that was instructed to actually be there and take on that expedition. They made it specifically for that mission, never released it publicly. They said that's it.
To pay homage to Piccard and Walsh, I'd taken this astonishing watch on board my submersible, the Old Lady, the same prototype that these great pioneers had rigged on their bathyscaphe, the Trieste, in 1960. And Don Walsh was there to welcome me on my return.
No one has managed to dive as deep as those two for another 50 years. It wasn't until 2012 when movie director and writer James Cameron decided to make an expedition of his own to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, diving to 10,908 meters. Alone. That's the kicker for me. He did it completely alone.
But how far did they go? 1960 was the last time.
1960, they went to exactly the same depth in a different place about 30 miles away. And we thought it was going to be a little bit deeper where I dove, but it turned out to be exactly the same.
As soon as they landed, there was so much sediment around them.
They couldn't see
They couldn't see. They saw clouds out their window and just had to go right back up.
I figured if I'm going down there as a filmmaker, I got a rep. I'd better come back with some pictures. I can't land in a big cloud and come back with nothing.
But you also took soil samples or whatever it was down there, sediment or whatever.
Imagine you're in this little metal vessel going into the absolute darkness, the abyss, and if anything goes wrong, if things misfire, whatever's happening in there, you're encased in this metal pod in the darkness, alone. Any number of things could happen. You're literally on an expedition to find out new territory that we really never chart as a human species. That sounds like hell. That is one of the most ridiculous things you can do.
You made your own submarine. You made your own, because you want to go to the deepest part of the ocean.
Everybody acts like that's strange, but you know, when you...
no one makes their own submarine.
I never get this from kids, because kids say, well, why wouldn't you make your own submarine and go to the bottom of the ocean? You know,
I guess so,
they get it.
This experimental Rolex was made specifically with the Deep Sea Challenge in mind. It was made to withstand 15,000 meters or 49,200 feet deep, which is deeper than the Mariana Trench is itself. Crazy.
This one was my trusted ally on my wrist. And Rolex also designed one to fit on my submersible's robotic arm. Both the submersible's timepiece and my own had endured through it all.
So the production Deep Sea Challenge, it's a monster. It is almost half as thick as it is wide. It is 50 millimeters wide. That alone would be badonk-a-donk, right? That's crazy. 50 millimeters wide is crazy, right? That's big, but it's 23 millimeters thick, and that's where you really get into chunky monkey territory, okay? It's sitting up, and that's how you can see it across the building. When Richard opens the door, the watch is coming in before him. They're gonna need to open the wingspan of the door just to let the watch in, because that guy's thick, it's standing up on there, and that's how you can tell how pronounced it is when you're on someone's wrist. Yeah, of course it's withstanding the depths of the Mariana Trench, and it needs to be thick for pressure and all that good stuff, but it's redonk-a-donk when you're wearing it. It really is.
Yeah, that's a fucking hunk. I'm serious, dude. It doesn't get much bigger than that.
Knock somebody
Yeah,
upside the head.
exactly.
Hell yeah.
He was telling me how he'd ship the bumper. You just bring that guy out, huh?
Now you left your mark on the back.
Yeah, which, by the way, if you win it, it comes with a brand new bumper. Yeah, so we was skating around Turkey Drag, and I went and picked up Brandon with all his camera equipment.
Yeah.
And he put it all in the back, and I just didn't think about it. It weighed down the back, and it caught one of those little city reflectors.
Yeah.
And it boom. Oh man, you have no clue, because Richard was on his way out there. My stomach just dropped. I was like, oh my god. So before he even looked, I was like, hey, I fucked the bumper up. He was like, what do you mean? I was like, don't worry, I already got a new one on the way.
The sapphire crystal that sits on top of the watch and protects it from the outer world can withstand 17 tons of pressure. That's a ton of pressure. Batman doesn't even apply that much pressure when he's in the interrogation room with the Joker.
Where are they?
So the sapphire crystal itself is 9.5 millimeters thick. And if you were thinking that the full thing being 23 millimeters thick is absurd, a good portion of that is the sapphire crystal. The sapphire crystal needed to be 9.5 millimeters thick to withstand the 17 tons of pressure that apparently is at 15,000 meters deep. I'm sure there's comparable things to be able to show how deep and, thick it is. Sounded kind of sus. That sounded a little sus. Live in time reflection moment there. 9.5 millimeters thick. How, wait a second. Rolex Submariner thickness. Yeah, I'm not even gonna go there. So this is just over 12 millimeters. The Rolex DeepSea Challenge, just the sapphire crystal that sits on top here is 9.5 millimeters thick. The sapphire crystal alone right here is almost as thick as the entire Rolex Submariner. How crazy is that? The fact that it's even comparable at all, the fact that it's even somewhat close to the entire thickness of the watch itself is nuts. Like, I'm pretty much wearing the Rolex DeepSea Challenge Sapphire Crystal right now. I'm f***ing at Weenie Hut Juniors again, dude. What the f***?
Are you saying I belong at Weenie Hut Juniors?
Oh no, sorry. I was actually pointing to the place next to it.
Super Weenie Hut Juniors.
Rolex developed this watch within only a few weeks to spend over 3 hours in the deepest known part of our ocean, led by one of the biggest filmmakers of our time. Not bad. Not bad, Rolex.
While I can be appreciative in the abstract for what it must have taken to create a new watch in 5 weeks, especially one that was going to go to ultimate depth, it took being taken through the process to really see what was involved and how remarkable it was that the team could do it so quickly.
In 2022, Rolex officially released the DeepSea Challenge to the public. Engraved on the back of the production watch are the dates of the 2 famous expeditions led by legendary explorers and the words Mariana Trench. It's made in titanium, and despite what Mark Wahlberg will tell you about him not having to go to the gym anymore because he's lifting that funky monkey all day, and that's enough of a pump, have his full workout sesh just lifting the watch up and down eating a sandwich.
I don't have to lift no weights right now. Lifting that big ass sea dweller. Wow.
It's actually 30% lighter than the regular Rolex DeepSea. The regular DeepSea is made in stainless steel and now gold, so now when you're deep sea exploring, the fish don't think you're financially challenged. Thank God. We've all been needing that. Thank you, Rolex. We've all been waiting for it, and Nemo was making fun of us because we were all financially challenged brokies wearing stainless steel and titanium watches. Now they know who the boss is. Thank you very much. So to put this incredible feat into perspective, there's been only 6 explorers that have descended the depths of the Mariana Trench and got to like the bottom of it, pretty much. And there's been over 24 people that have went to the moon and 12 people that have walked on the moon. It means 4 times as many people have been to the moon compared to the Mariana Trench. 12 times as many people have walked on the moon compared to the Mariana Trench, because we haven't even been able to step foot on it yet. We've just been able to go down in a submersible, in a vessel of some sort that we've created. We haven't been able to open up and actually touch foot on the Mariana Trench floor before, but 12 people have been able to do that on the moon. I just think that really gives credit to how challenging it is to be able to do these expeditions like they're doing. So the watch design is cool and all, it's pretty classic. It's like the Rolex Submariner, except a lot bigger. But when I look at this behemoth of metal that encases the movement that's able to make this thing function, I wonder, you know, what's actually in there. So here are just two crucial elements that are engineered into this hunk of a watch that enable it to dive down to the deepest part of the ocean that we know of. Rolex's patented ring lock system. The ring lock is a stainless steel inner ring inside the case where the crystal is on one end and the case back is on the other. The idea is to reduce the total amount of stress on the watch by diverting the pressure which would normally build in the crystal at those depths and transfer it to the ring lock instead. The ring lock system also, wait for it, makes the watch thinner. That's right, this lunchbox of a watch slapped on a bracelet could have actually been bigger and more obtrusive than it already is if it didn't have the ring lock system in place, taking the brunt of the pressure. The helium escape valve is also found on the Sea Dweller and the regular Deep Sea, but it helps nonetheless. It allows helium molecules to escape the case rather than at a faulty point of the watch, causing a weak point in its construction, which at those depths you really don't want. So this was an in-depth review of one of Richard Rawlings' most worn watches. When I had seen him in person, I wasn't aware of this, so seeing this behemoth on his wrist really kind of caught me off guard. I wasn't aware that he was wearing this watch like pretty much on the daily, but scrolling back through the videos and the content that they had after we had met, I realized that he's wearing this watch a bunch. And if I had looked at that stuff before we had met, it probably wouldn't have caught me off guard as much as it did, but I really do like the way that it all kind of played out on camera and just the interaction with it. So I had fun with it. This video was a fun one to make. Hopefully you liked it too and get a little bit insight into one of Richard's like favorite watches, I guess, because he keeps wearing it. Maybe when you see it on his wrist next time, you'll be like, hey, I know a little bit more about it than I used to. It's fun to see it on Richard's wrist because it's just a behemoth. I actually made a full dedicated video like, I don't know, a couple months ago, maybe a year, a while ago. It was a decent while ago. Some of these watch brands like Rolex know more than you think, because I'm like insinuating that Rolex and some of these things might know about aliens and alien existence because the watches are so huge that I can't fathom that they made it for the size of a human's wrist. But I just thought that was really funny. That was just a joke video.
I've got
like watches?
Yeah, I got a 44 mil tag sitting at the house. Yeah, I got a Grand Calibre.
I did this watch project. Yeah, $20,000 of diamonds on a $200 watch.
Yeah, I mean,
well, so I was grabbing my tag out of my truck, and we got about halfway here, and I was like, Brandon, grab my bag, and we grabbed it, and I was like, I forgot my watch.
Yeah.
So like, I ran over to the store and just grabbed a gold Nixon real quick. I was like, I feel naked without it. I need a watch. I need a watch.
That's the watch version of like SEMA. Like it's just a crazy build on something that shouldn't happen.
Shouldn't be,
yeah. Like if there was a SEMA for watches, I think this would be in the main hall.
Yeah. yeah, that's in Battle of the Builders. Fuck, it's sexy. That's the big gangster. That thing's gangster.
You've heard of Daniel Wellington? That's like Omega ass.
It's like the bottom of the top.
I couldn't go any lower. Yeah. What's the worst and stupidest thing I could do? This is it.
I like his style.
Yeah, how's your foot?
Oh, it's good.
You get surgery or?
Yeah, they put pins and plates in it and stuff.
That was a quick turnaround.
Is that bad?
Yeah.